Hello, I'm Brian Warren, and I'm here today at the Haas Advanced Manufacturing Center. We are located at Meridian Community College in Mississippi, and we're partnering up with Practical Machinist to bring you educational videos each month. Be sure to mention in the comments anything you'd like to see us do in the future. Today I want to show you some software that we use in our program. Now, we use many types of software in our program, CAD, CAM, a couple different CAM software. This is not our main platform that we use for CAM, but it is one that I like to get started with. It is one that a lot of companies have requested for their particular company for workforce training. It is something that's quite easy to pick up on. This is FeatureCAM Ultimate 2021 edition, and this is free to any educator or student for educational use through your Autodesk account. Now, I'm not affiliated with Autodesk or any CAM manufacturer for that reason. This is purely educational, and I would like to show you a few things that you can do with it. Name in specific, what we want to do is we want to do an outside profile of a boss. We want to cut a pocket and then leave an island in it. So let's go ahead and get started. And what I'm going to do first is select what type of operation I'm going to do. This is going to be a 3-axis mill, so I'm going to go to create new document with mill. This is going to prompt a dialog box, and this is real straightforward. You just enter your stock dimensions. On this particular one, I'm going to be 4 inches wide, 6 inches long, and 1 inch thick. And then from there, I hit next. Now, if you look, a material menu pops up. It has a lot of different materials already preloaded into it. For this particular operation, it's going to be aluminum, so I'm going to hit next on it. I do not want to use any 4th or 5th axis. This is going to be a straight 3-axis part. So I'm going to come in, and it just props up a little box for you to verify what you've already selected. And everything looks good, so I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Now, the first thing I want to do is I'm going to center everything up, and I do not want my origin to be in the bottom left corner. So I can go ahead and highlight it and hit Properties, and I'm going to align it to my stock face on the center. So I select Center and hit Finish, then Close, and that way everything is coming from the middle, and it makes it a little easier. Now, if you notice, I don't have any snapping grids on here. It's because it's hard for me to see them. When it comes on, when I have my grids on and I have my geometry lines drew, they all kind of blend in together. So unless I need them, I generally just turn them off. So I got my origin in the center. I'm ready to start putting some lines in to do the geometry. So I'm going to go to my line menu, and I'm going to select a horizontal line. I'm going to enter it at 0. Then I'm going to go back to my line menu, hit a vertical line, and enter it at 0. And that just gives me somewhere from center that I can offset from, because I like to do a lot of this from offset. So this particular part, the total outside without the radius is going to be a 3x5. So I'm going ahead and offset 1.5 inches from center. And I type in my offset value of what I want, and then I click on the line I want to offset from. And then I just move the mouse in the direction I want it to offset. Same thing for here. I want 5 inch. So this time I'm going to make this 2.5. Click the line in the center, and move mouse over to where I want to go. Now, I have just a little bit more than a 12-inch radius in this, and I've already done the calculations, so I know that I need an offset line 1.25 from here and 1.25 from here. Now, I need this so I can go back in and do a 3-point radius. So I'm going to go in here and click 3 points. I'm going to be careful to click the line that I want to start from. So I'm going to start from the top left, go to the bottom center to the top right, and you see that radius creates. It'll be the same thing here. I'm going to go into the bottom left to the center and then bottom right. Now I have my radius shape in there, and it doesn't look quite right yet, but it will. I'm going to go ahead and do my corners. I'm going to put a 1/4 inch radius in these corners. And you see there I made a mistake. That's no big deal. You can undo it and get it how you want it done. And sometimes it'll give you a little trouble, but it'll show up. So I got that one. And then you just kind of hover your mouse over the corner till it gets how you want it. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go back into my line menu, and I'm going to go to edit and clip. And I'm going to clip out all this excess that I do not need and just kind of clean my drawing up a little bit so I can see it better. And I'm just, if you notice, when I highlight over a line, one part turns dark green. That's the part that's going to be removed when you clip it out. So I'm going to clip out this, this, and this. I'm going to leave these in the middle for right now because I want to put a circle in the middle. I'm going to go with a center radius circle. I'm going to make it a 1/2 inch radius so I get a 1 inch diameter to the center of it. And now I'm going to go back into my line menu. I'm going to put the dimensions for my pocket. And I'm going to do this simply by offsetting. I'm going to offset 3/8 from each side. So I type my offset value in here. Then I go back and I click the lines that I want to offset from. And just move the mouse over into the direction I want to offset in. I'm going to go back to my corner fillet and I'm going to go in and do another 1/4 inch radius here. And you can see it a lot better now, so this round will make it a lot easier. So now I can go back into my edit and I'm going to just go ahead and clip out those extra lines that I don't need, because I now have everything in that I need to draw this with. So looking at it now, I can go back to my select menu and all I have is just a geometry. I have no features in this yet. It's just lines on the stock. What makes this software easy though is to be able to go in and put the features. So let's look at our feature menu. Everything is done in common shop terms. That makes it a lot easier for everybody to pick up on. So I'm going to go with a boss on this, and it kind of shows you a pictorial of what's going to happen. I want to leave this outside shape. So boss, then I'm going to go into curve chain, and I'm going to chain this outside together, and it picked it up, automatically recognized it. All right, my depth of it is going to be a 1/2 inch deep. I do want to go ahead and put a chamfer in now, so I'm going to set my chamfer to 10 thousandths. I'm going to set my height to 5. If I had a draft angle on this, I could do it from here also, but this is not. It's going to be a straight wall. All right, I absolutely want to do a rough and finish pass on it, so I'm going to go with that default. Now it's going to pull up some tools, and it always defaults to this one particular tool that I do not want the students to use, so I named it Do Not Use, so it'll make them go in and find another end mill. Now what I'm going to go with, we went in and named our tools so we could find them easier. We use a 1/2 inch end mill for a lot of aluminum, and the reason for it is price. There's quite a price jump between 1/2 inch and 5/8 and 3/4 for certain. Being a school, operate within a budget, the 1/2 inch are the most price effective tools that we can use, you know, when it's in between 1/2 and 1 inch, and then we go to some type of shoulder mill or something with inserts. But solid carbide 1/2 inch is going to work great. These feeds and speeds work great for my machine and my setup. You know, will it work for yours? That depends. I cannot just give a straightforward answer that it'll work on any machine out there, but for this machine and this setup, it works great. It's been proven over and over. I'm going to run flood cooling on this, and then it's going to prompt me again for my roughing tool, which is going to be the same tool I'm using. Go into next, and then it's going to ask me for my chamfer tool, which is fine. That's a 5/16 chamfer. We have that in. And I'm going to hit next on it. Feed and speed look good. And then it kind of tells me what I just selected and what I just did. So I'm going to hit finish on that. And it shows you again what's going to happen. And, you know, from here you could change location, strategy, however you want to do it. If you want to offset, if you had a face in there or something. So I'll look at my results tab and it will show me. And it's something I really like the students to look for is they go to details and tool list, and they can verify that the tools are in that correct position. Let's say with this chamfer, it's not, that it's really tool 6. So we could go into that tool and double click it and double click again and go into overrides, and I can set it to 6, apply and OK, and then it changes that tool number in the list for me. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to go ahead now and just kind of run this and show you what it looks like. So I'm going to go into my sim mode, and I'm going to go with a 3D simulation. I'm going to switch right click, and I'm going to switch to isometric view, and just kind of show what's going to happen here. Now, say it took the whole depth at one time, which that ML can do, but let's say you couldn't, and you didn't need to take the whole depth at one time. So what I would do is click on results, go to the word rough pass, double click it, click in my rough pass Z increment, and set it to what I wanted it to be. Say like we wanted it to be 300 thou. So I'm going to hit set and apply and OK. Run the sim again, and you'll notice that it doesn't take it all at one time. It steps it 300 at a time until it hits its max depth. That looks great, looks good. So let's go ahead and set up our pocket. And I'm going to go in here and go back to features. I'm going to select my pocket. I'm going to attempt to curve chain this. If it doesn't curve chain, I'll have to go in and connect them, but it did. It's picking up really nice. All right, it's also going to be a 1/2 inch depth. I also want to leave a chamfer on this. It's going to be down to a 1/2 inch in depth. That's good. I want to do a rough and finish. It's going to pick these tools for me. I'm going to go back and I want to minimize my tool change. I know this 1/2 inch is working, so I'm going to go get it. Now, right now, it thinks everything's fine, but in reality, I'm leaving that circle in there. And so I'm going to go in and get a smaller tool for this. I'm going to do the second rough with a 1/4 inch. And then it knows kind of what I'm doing from there. So it automatically selects it and back to that same chamfer tool. Okay, so I'm in there. And now I'm going to go into my islands. And it's picking up nothing there because there's nothing there but geometry, but I'm going to select and tell it to select that circle and then OK and apply, and it's going to leave that island in there for me. Now, a couple things to remember at this is your island and your pocket have to be the same height. You can't have offsetting heights. It won't let you do that. But now when I go in and hit my isometric view, I'm going to go in and hit play. And it's going to step it down. Now, it's probably going to gouge in the whole depth of that one. It did, but it's going in, chamfer, and everything looks really nice. I'm going to go back in and edit that so that it also steps at 300 on that first pocket. Okay, it's good. Check my rough pass. That's the one I'm looking for, 0.3. I gotta always stop my simulation. That's the new version. But everything looks good. I'm gonna run my simulation one more time. So my part came out well, and now here's the part that everybody wants is the NC code. You click it. It comes up. It's a fairly good post. I really don't have any issues out of the post for a Haas or a Fanic. It's always run. Just make sure you got the right post processor selected, for whatever machine you're going to run on. You can edit these where you could take out the block start. You can change a lot of stuff here. But this one's set up pretty nice, and it's actually the default post. I haven't done anything to this particular post. Something I like to do is you can go in and you go through the whole file save sequence, but when I'm just ready to run the part, and particularly if it's something I'm doing a one-off and I'm not going to use it again, I just go and Control A, and then that selects all. I will copy, and then I'll go into and search for Notepad, and then I got this pasted right in. I can go in and edit out my program number to whatever I need it to be, for my thumb drive. Let's say with this one, we went with 89761. And I always I don't know why it does this, but I like to get that off that line with it, off that blocker code. And then I can go in the file, save as to my thumb drive, G code. And then I could also come here and back up all my files. I could save it, into my own folder. And just like anybody would on anything else. But this is a good software to use, a good software to learn on. It's not as involved as the rest of them, but it is something very good to get started with. Thank you.